One-on-One with Kevin Stanfield.
Welcome back to One-on-One. I am Gabriel Gonzalez. Joining me today is Mesa County Commissioner Cody Davis. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Gabriel.
Of course. Thanks for being here. We're talking about something that's kind of been in the headlines locally recently. It is the proposal for the Dolores Canyon Monument. So first, tell me where the commissioners stand on that. First of all, tell us what it is, and then tell me kind of where y'all stand.
Yeah, so we've been going through this stakeholder engagement process where we wanted to find out what the community thought about this. There was a proposal that was put forth several months ago of creating a national monument designation for the Dolores area down south in Mesa County and western side of Montrose County. So first of all, we wanted to pump the brakes and actually have a stakeholder engagement process. We actually just finished a poll because the proponents of this national monument said that 70% of people approve of some form of conservation, which I agree with. And our poll actually says the same thing. We want some form of conservation. But when you ask them what type of conservation they want, 70% want something other than a national monument. A national monument is the most restrictive, most egregious form of conservation, really not conservation, but preservation, where you almost try to say, don't do anything ever again. There are certain allowed uses, but it's very restrictive. And so we're saying there is a role for conservation in the area. There's also a role for existing activity down there, whether it's recreation, rafting, hiking, biking, you name it, what they want, hunting, fishing, those types of activities with conservation. Like, this is the 21st century. We can do both at the same time, and we do both at the same time. And there are existing protections already down there. There's restrictions on mining, on grazing, on many of those activities that many think are destructive to the area. There are many restrictions already, and if we're short somewhere, we can always add a little bit, but we don't need to go to the extent of a national monument. And that's what the polling shows, and that's what most of the people in Mesa County, Montrose County, and San Miguel County combined think about that thing. So we think this is ill-timed, it's ill thought out, and it doesn't take the stakeholders on the ground into consideration. So we're hoping that the president does not issue this, because this isn't a stakeholder process. This is just the President of the United States issuing a declaration saying this is a national monument, regardless of the impacts. And we think we can do better. We think we can have a community process where we say what needs to be conserved and what activities can we still allow down there. And so whether it's a national conservation area that's declared, or whether we increase the amount of protections already in place to mitigate certain fears, we think there's a better process to be had down there.
Yeah, so let me ask this. Why is it kind of important to people of Mesa County, Montrose County, and San Miguel County, as you mentioned? Why is this important to us over here?
Well, it's very important. Again, 70% of people want some form of conservation. Like, we don't want to just destroy the land. And again, this is not the 1800s where people come with bulldozers and destroy the land to extract minerals. We can extract minerals, uranium, oil, gas, in a way that has very little impact to the land. So again, this is the 21st century. We can do both, and we should. We should conserve the land so it's here for our future generations, but we all should have access to certain minerals within the ground that gives our community and our nation national security. So we should be pulling uranium out of the ground here in the United States before we buy it from Russia or something like that. And we also feel like we should be able to recreate in those areas and have access to them. And national monuments, you don't really know what you're getting until it's there. It's almost like you can read the bill after we pass it type thing.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, has it already been presented to President Biden, the proposal? And if it has, when will we know kind of the timeline on if it is or not going to be a national monument?
That's part of the problem with this process, is we don't know what's been submitted. It's not a public process. We don't know what's been submitted to the president. The proponents of it are the ones that are proposing this, and the president of the United States, President Biden, can say, yes, I like it, no, I don't like it, or no, it's not good timing, or whatever. We don't really know what's going on. So we could wake up tomorrow and find out the President of the United States has signed Dolores National Canyon Monument into existence. So there's not much of a timeline. We understand that if it's going to happen, it'll probably happen this year because it's an election year. And if Biden doesn't get reelected, we may see this happen after the election. If he does get elected, he might push it down the road. We're not really sure, so we're trying to put pressure on the powers that be, our senators and our representatives, to represent the people here on the Western Slope well. And as our poll shows, it's a scientific poll, meaning they got an accurate count accurate representation of the people who live on the Western Slope, 70% of the people do not want a national monument here in Western Colorado.
Yeah, well, let me play devil's advocate really quick. Let's say the proposal does get approved. Kind of, where does that leave you all as commissioners? Is there a way to, oppose the approved proposal, or kind of where does that go after that?
Yeah, so once it's approved, they kind of put the bumpers on what's going to happen in the future. There's a small public process that happens, but there's not much flexibility moving forward. However, that being said, if President Biden puts it into effect, and let's say by chance Trump gets elected, he could pull it, he could rescind that executive order right away. So again, that doesn't provide any predictability moving forward. There's a better way. If they want more protections, if they want a national monument, they can go through the legislature. That's what the legislature is there for. The Antiquities Act, under which the president would be making this, was to protect certain very specific cultural artifacts and things that are very important. It wasn't meant to grab 400,000 acres generally and put them into a protective order like this. So again, there's a better way, we feel that vehemently, and
Yeah.
I think the people on Western Slope think that as well.
Yeah, well, we're almost out of time, but very quickly, if people who are watching this and want to support your effort, the commissioner's efforts, what can they do?
So we have a website at mesacounty.us. You can go and you can find out more information. We are trying to be informative. We're trying to have a stakeholder. So we have the pro side, we have the con side, and then we have all the information you'll need to make up your mind. We're not trying to push one way or the other. I personally believe it's a bad thing, and I think we may, at sometime in the future, the commissioners may take an official position, but we want people to get educated, because what we find out is most people who get educated, they find out this isn't the right way. I mean, when you ask somebody, should we have a national monument, their first gut reaction is, yeah, we like protections. But when you educate them, they generally turn and say, oh, I get it. There's a better way to do this.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, and we look forward. Let us know anything that happens.
Will do. Thanks, Gabe.
Of course, no problem. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.